Hello, everyone. Rosanna Berardi from Berardi Immigration Law here today to tell you all things H-1B. It's just 12 noon, and we'll get started in a minute or so. Thanks for joining us today. This is going to be a really good one. Welcome to the Berardi Immigration Law H-1B $100,000 entry fee webinar. Well, this is year 28 for me being an immigration lawyer, and never did I think the H-1B would be headline news and every single media outlet writing about it, talking about it. Wall Street Journal, Forbes, New York Times have been covering this extensively this week. And today we're going to talk to you about what's happening, what's the latest and greatest. Not sure there's a lot of greatest here, but we will get started in just about another minute. Thanks for joining us today. If you know of anyone that is interested in this webinar but can't be here today, we will be putting it on our YouTube channel and sending it out via email to everyone that's attending today. Okay, so let's get started. Thank you again, Rosanna Berardi from Berardi Immigration Law. All right, so while I was eating dinner on Friday night after a really stressful week at the firm and in life, a news flash came across my phone saying, the Trump administration is having a press conference right now and signing some executive orders that will increase the H-1B visa fee to $100,000. What? I almost fainted. This is one of the most dramatic shifts in employment-based immigration. We're going to talk about it today, who it impacts, what remains unclear, the new weighted lottery proposal that came out yesterday. My goal today is just to give you the facts. I have a lot of opinions. I dropped a podcast on this yesterday. If you want to hear my opinions, listen to that. Went a little looser than I normally go on the podcast. This is all quite alarming. But nonetheless, okay, let's start with the basics. An H-1B is for individuals that come to the United States that hold a bachelor's degree or the equivalent and are working in a job that requires a bachelor's degree or an equivalent. The equivalent part is usually 12 years of experience. So these are professional level positions. This is one of the many immigration categories under the Immigration and Nationality Act. And what's different about the H-1B is that Congress restricts the number of H-1Bs that they will allow USCIS to issue every year. And that number is 85,000. So every year there's an actual lottery system in which if you're an employer and you want to sponsor a foreign national to work in the United States as a lawyer or an accountant or a software developer, you can enter into the H-1B lottery to apply for one of those 85,000 spots. How many people normally apply? Most years, 300,000 to 400,000 for 85,000 spots. The demand here is always greater than the supply. It's a very clunky product to sell to our clients. It is a very difficult product and option for our clients and employers to utilize, but nonetheless, it's there and we make the best of it. So what happened? Well, the H-1B has always been a little bit controversial. Why? Well, many moons ago, there was a headline story that the Walt Disney Company fired some American workers, replaced them with H-1B workers who worked for lesser amounts, and made the Americans train their H-1B replacements. Now, this story is in the media. I would gather if you talk to anybody and you say H-1B, They're going to say, we don't need H-1Bs in America. No, we don't need any foreign labor. America first. There was that time that Disney did that, and that's wrong, and yada, yada, yada. That's an opinion. Zoom out a little bit. This is 85,000 people in our country of 330 million. And let's remember, I said I wasn't going to go too far into my opinion, but let's remember that there are massive shortages in certain occupation areas that H-1B workers typically fill, such as medicine. Lots and lots and lots of foreign national physicians utilize the H-1B program, software developers, tech, science. There are many shortage occupations, nurses that H-1Bs fulfill. So what happened? The H-1B, you can apply for it. Filing fees, depending, there's a couple variables. Let's just say if you're an employer and you want to file an H-1B petition, let's go on the high side. The fee's going to cost you about $5,000. Well, September 19th comes along. The administration out of nowhere says, we're increasing it to $100,000. Raise the roof, people. $5,000 to $100,000. Wow, I'm a business owner. I would love to raise my rates at that pace. No rhyme or reason or justification. The executive order simply said employers filing H-1B petitions who are outside of the U.S. upon entering the U.S. need to pay $100,000. And the way the executive order read was, if you're an H-1B holder outside of the U.S., this went into effect on September 21st at midnight. If you were not back in the United States by September 21st at midnight, you were going to have to pay the $100,000 fee. Holy man. Our emails, our inboxes were blowing up. Phones were ringing off the hook. Clients were nervous and scared and trying to come back. There was a whole host of foreign nationals from India that were on a plane. And the pilot actually said, I think I can make this deadline. I'm going to try and fly a little bit faster to get people back in the United States. It was a fire drill. This weekend was one of the most stressful situations that have occurred in my career because without any notice, no one knew this was coming. The government decides to mandate this fee. Fun fact, there was no methodology or process to pay this $100,000. If you came in at 12:05 a.m. on September 21st, did you bring a bag of cash? Would your American Express allow you to charge $100,000? A certified check? How do you even do this? Well, of course, at about 5 p.m. on Saturday, the 20th, the government started walking it back, saying, well, wait. This is just for new petitions. So if you're outside of the U.S., and you're re-entering, this doesn't apply to you. And wait, this doesn't apply. This is only going forward. If you apply for a new petition, which generally you cannot do that until March of the next calendar year, because that's when the lottery window opens, this fee doesn't apply. And the part that was really infuriating was the administration said immigration lawyers like myself and giant companies like Microsoft and Google that were advising their clients to re-enter the US were engaging in fake news because we were making this bigger than it was. No, we were following the letter of the executive order, which was one of the most horribly written things I have ever laid my eyes on. But I digress. So it's walked back a little bit. So who does it apply to today, September 25th? This applies to new petitions for H-1B beneficiaries outside of the United States. Okay, it would be hard right now to file an H-1B petition for someone outside of the U.S. unless he or she held it, and I'll get into that a little bit later. This fee does not apply to extensions of stay. So if you have an employee that's in the United States and his or her H-1B expires November 1st, and you need to extend it, you can extend it by mail. You do not have to submit the $100,000 check. If you have to amend a petition, if there's been a substantial change in core duties for one of your employees, you do not have to attach that check of $100,000. if you are hiring an H-1B employee from Google and you are Amazon and that employee has the H-1B and you're transferring it from Google to Amazon, you do not have to pay that $100,000 fee. So what we're dealing with now is new petitions and this $100,000 fee. Now, what we don't know is how the heck are they going to collect this? How do employers actually submit $100,000? Is there going to be a new form? What is the government going to do? They probably have not even thought of this. Okay. Does Department of Homeland Security have the right to waive people in the national interest? Say there's a physician abroad that's going to come in for the next lottery in, next year at this time. If he's doing work in the national interest, Department of Homeland Security definitely has discretion to waive people in. Will it just be for healthcare? Will it be for higher ed? For defense? Who the heck knows? But this $100,000 filing fee appears to be in place for new applications. So when would this impact your employees? Okay, so if they're here now, you're doing extensions, renewals, amendments, transfers, no need to worry. But there's a lot of questions about what about their H-4 dependents? What about cap exempt or institutions of higher ed? There's a lot of questions the government still hasn't answered. The next cycle of H-1B petitions will be in March of 2026, in about 6 months from now. And that is when the window will open for the lottery. We're thinking that we're going to see some litigation. We are knowing some of our colleagues around the country are looking for plaintiffs to file lawsuits on behalf of pro bono. If you're interested in doing that, let me know. And we're expecting to see some litigation. Is this fee justifiable? Will a court allow it? I'm not really sure. Why is this happening? Why? I don't know, you guys. There's been a lot of talk about these H-1Bs. The government just says there's too much abuse. This isn't the legislative history or intent of the H-1B category as Congress wrote it. The executive order had a lot of vague statements about, well, Amazon laid off 15,000 people, but then they used 14,000 H-1Bs. Maybe apples and oranges. Did they lay off warehouse workers and hire tech workers? Maybe. If so, okay. And there's reports, like I said, that Disney story where American workers are asked to train their replacements. There's also this idea, there's many, many, many big consulting agencies that use H-1Bs to place in different clients around the United States. Government doesn't love that. There's allegations of fraud, money laundering. I don't know. The government, get this, collects an anti-fraud fee on every application to help the government fight fraud. But alas, there's some fraud. So the government's saying, well, listen, if you want this, we're going to make you pay for it. It's going to be punitive. Amazon, oh, you used almost 15,000 of the 85,000 H-1B numbers last year. Not so fast. Not anymore. Does Amazon have deep pockets for this? Maybe. Who the heck knows? What else happened? So we've got the $100,000 fee, which, holy man, that was jarring. Something came out yesterday, a proposed rule. Thank God it wasn't another executive order. The proposed rule is in the Federal Register. This is actually how things are changed in the government. Government puts out a notice in the Federal Register. Here's our plan, and then opens it up for comments for people. You have 30 to 60 days. What did this Federal Register 105-page proposed rule say? Well, they're saying, look, we don't like this H-1B lottery. People are gaming the system. It's wrought with fraud. We are going to go back to Congress's initial intent on this visa classification, and we are going to give high wage earners more opportunity to apply in the lottery. So they're saying if you are a level 4 wage, we look at wages by positions and education required, and the wage level is 1 through 4. 1 are the lower wages, 4 are the higher wages. If you have a job that's going to pay you a level 4 wage, you're getting 4 entries in the lottery. Level 3 wages, 3 entries. Level 2 wages, 2. Level 1, 1 entry. That's the government's way of saying, listen, we don't mind a few lower entry jobs, still all bachelor degree level, but this better reflects the congressional intent to recruit the best and brightest rather than filling entry-level jobs. This is a proposed rule. It's open for public comments now. If I had to look in my crystal ball, most things in the Federal Register for immigration purposes do actually get approved and published. I would guess either by end of the year or beginning of next, we will see this weighted system. Now, the Trump administration did try this in 2021, looked a little different. A judge said, nope, not doing this. But we'll see. This one is weighted a little bit more carefully and appears to be a little bit more equal. Now, for employers that offer high wages, you'll have 4 chances, 4 bites at the H-1B apple. If you're doing low wage jobs, you're only going to get 1. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if this is actually going to go into place. But the commentary is really interesting. If you know me, you know. I always say the immigration house is on fire and we're worried about the curtains. I have represented thousands of H-1B workers in my career of 28 years. And I've got to tell you, this category is difficult. It requires approval by your State Department of Labor, U.S. Department of Labor, Citizenship and Immigration Services, the U.S. Department of State, Customs and Border Protection. If you get an H-1B, you have checked the boxes and followed the rules by the book. Okay, H-1B category, this is tough stuff. It costs employers a fortune. Oh, Rosanna, they just do it because they want cheaper labor. I can go into that for hours. As an employer, if you didn't have to do this, you wouldn't. There are shortage occupations. Yes, we're a huge country. Yes, there's millions of Americans, but we don't have enough of them for certain jobs. And that is why we have the H-1B category. In addition to, I will remind you, I will be on my soapbox right now, the Immigration Nationality Act has dozens of categories that allow foreign workers in the United States. If you don't like the H-1B category, you don't like any of them. You don't want anything. There's a category called the O1 for extraordinary ability. Celine Dion, Justin Bieber, I'm thinking of some other famous actors, actresses. If you only want Americans, none of those people would be allowed in the U.S. Zoom out. This is a big deal. The government dropped this bomb. We'll see. This might be the bomb of the day. We'll see what happens. But it's super disruptive and stressful. Imagine living not only in another state, but another country. You're here. You've gone to school here. You've paid your tuition and your taxes. And you're applying for your H-1B. And holy man, all of a sudden, the obstacle, the 10,000 other obstacles, there's now an additional one of a $100,000 filing fee. Stop. But the weighted lottery, that'll be coming soon unless someone challenges it legally. But the message here, people, is we're clamping down. This is part and parcel of the Trump administration's messaging that America is closed to immigration, whether it's illegal or legal. We've seen a huge focus on illegal reform in the first 9 months of the term. But now the focus has become on legal immigration, people that follow the rules. Government's on the attack for this one. Stay tuned. This one is evolving. It's complicated. It's stressful. We are on it. We are continually updating all of our social media channels, YouTube page. Thank you for being here today. This is a loaded topic. There's a lot of misunderstanding of how this all works. I hope today that you learned something that was valuable that you could take away. And please share this with your friends, Go to our YouTube channel. We've got tons and tons of resources. We do tons of H-1B work every year. Thank you for joining me. Go have your lunch and have a great day.